All right, what's up, Siren Squad? We got to do a quick audio check here. You can go ahead and let me know in Discord because you're not able to come through. Discord is not a source on here. All right, guys. First of all, we hit 20,000 views on YouTube. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. But that is not what surprised me the most, okay? What absolutely shocked me and warms my heart is that our Twitch stream, Healthy Communications, achieved 17 rewatches. I am really hoping that some of you found some of that information useful. Now, that being said, I understand how useful and helpful this information is for so many people. Yesterday, I received feedback regarding my stream. Although this feedback is not something I would deem as healthy communication, I completely understand how I was misunderstood and the reason why the viewer had the perception in which they did. Here's what I want to say. I will not validate, clarify, or explain myself. I will reiterate that yesterday's stream was focusing on behaviors and not verbal cues nor verbal exchanges. People's behavior can actually tell us far more than an actual spoken word. And nothing I expressed yesterday was meant to cite an actual verbal exchange, verbatim, but rather reference what a reactive behavior told me. Examples cited are my experiences, my perceptions, and I do not need to explain myself. I scarcely trust an actual word spoken. I will not go into detail. I do not need to explain myself. I do not need to validate my actions. I need no one's approval. Negative assumptions will fall on deaf ears. If anyone feels the need to become defensive regarding the expressions of my experiences, this podcast is not for you. And I highly suggest you unfollow and maybe focus on something that will promote positivity in your life. Let them make assumptions. Let them lack clarity. Let them suffer narcissistic collapse and justify thought processes despite missing a completely broader message. What I do want to tell my other viewers, my brand is about being transparent and authentic, which is not to be confused with always being correct. Every experience is unique to each individual. Since the person clearly lacks an ability to appropriately communicate in conjunction with an inability to comprehend the overall message, there is really no point in explaining myself further. I am no longer available for this conversation. This stream is meant to provide resources for people who are seeking self-improvement, knowledge, insight, and understanding into the psychological ramifications of not only their own actions and behaviors, but how the actions of others may affect them. So, if you aren't here seeking self-improvement, and if you aren't watching to become more aware and educated, I would suggest this stream is not for you and remind you that no one is forcing you to watch it. Imagine tuning into a mental health stream and taking things so personally that you impulsively take the messages expressed as an attack. Yesterday's stream was literally read word for word from a website providing psychological information, which I then coupled with my own personal experiences, and I am happy to provide that resource in the description when I highlight this stream, and it is already provided in yesterday's broadcast over on YouTube. Let me remind everyone, you should be coming here to watch this stream because you want to learn, because you are looking for answers. I am not chasing people down and forcing them to watch. Toxic expressions in the form of messaging, DMs, or emails will absolutely not be tolerated. Furthermore, I will not be available nor waste my energy on any further unhealthy or toxic expressions. If you are unsure what those might be, might I suggest you go back and watch my podcast on understanding healthy communication. I am happy to respond to any viewers who are able to express themselves in a respectful and healthy manner. Those who are not, please be advised, continued expressions of this dynamic will absolutely not be tolerated. Additionally, let me be very clear. I started this podcast for my own healing purposes, recognizing there is a community of people who are struggling, looking for answers, and wanting to improve themselves. I share resources that I find useful and reputable on the internet that I believe may help others who are actively seeking to become better, happier, healthier people. And I will not tolerate interactions that cannot follow basic common respect, let alone seem to lack healthy, appropriate communication skills. I will not be bullied, intimidated, or shamed into silence ever again in my life. The only reason this topic is currently being afforded any of my energy is because I feel the need to healthily communicate the rules regarding the interactions stemming from my podcast production. This podcast is meant to be a safe and informational space, and I intend on maintaining that out of the respect and compassion for my audience. If you don't like what I'm saying, don't listen to it. With that being said, chat, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I have decided to take the weekend off because I am fixing to party like it's 1999, which I'm still very old enough to remember. Monday, however, I have decided that we will be coming back and we are going to plan to talk about a very interesting topic that I didn't even know existed. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, and you'll have to stay tuned. I'm working it out. But we will be discussing on Monday, what is a narcissistic collapse? Maybe you want to look it up. Then you'll know it's coming. I look forward to seeing you all then. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves, chat.